Aftersun is the movie. What did you think?
So let's just begin with the basics. I think Charlotte Wells is an extraordinary talent, and I think Paul Mescal is absolutely right when he says she is somebody we are going to see much more of in the future. The BIFA nominations, I think the film is second only to St. Maud in the terms of nominations that it got, and deservedly so across the board. The heads of department have all been nominated, which really sort of demonstrates that it's a group effort. So I think she's an extraordinary filmmaker, and her short films kind of showed a lot of where this was coming from, but it's so confident. The second thing is, as you say, we completely believe in this father and daughter relationship to the point that you forget that they're acting. Now, one of the things that adds to that is that the film has two registers. One of them is DV camera footage, which is, okay, this is real, truthful. This actually happened because it's there on DV. The other is a kind of remembered register of Sophie older, looking back and remembering. So there's a tension between those two things about, what we have documented and what we have remembered. And in both registers, you watch the two performers and you just completely forget that they are performing. You believe that they are absolutely in that relationship that they're in. The film has an awful lot of the feel and the textural quality of Lynn Ramsey's works, but particularly I think Lynn Ramsey's early short films. I had the privilege of speaking to Charlotte Wells, and she was talking about Gas Man as being an influence. And I think it's easy to see how that does feed in, that kind of snapshot images that your mind does. But also great to see a film that's set in the past, but this is something that Paul mentioned in that interview. It feels very present. It's bright. The colours glow. It has that kind of almost hyper-real quality of a memory about it. And also, plaudits to the editing, because the editing has a way of kind of creating a magical liminal realm in which watching the film is almost like experiencing a memory. And I think this, for me, was the thing that I took away from it most profoundly. I've always thought that film and memory are very, very closely connected, and all the great filmmakers understand that. Watching Aftersun is like remembering something that didn't happen to you, but you kind of feel like it did. And I think that, I'm not critic enough to be able to explain how that happened, because all the best movies in the end leave you slightly baffled as to how that happened. Despite having listened to your interview, I still can't imagine what Aftersun looked like on the page. I can only describe what it felt like in the room watching it on the screen. And because so much of it is to do with the sound design and the imagery, and not the dialogue, because the dialogue doesn't feel scripted. The dialogue feels like it's just people talking. So on the one hand, it's a coming of age film in which, one of the central characters is definitely a child, but is also sometimes confused as being, people see their father, daughter, and sometimes people think they're siblings because he looks young and she's smart beyond her years. Not precocious, but just smart and on the cusp of something. So it is a coming of age film in the same way as supposes something like Ratcatcher is. It's got, the use of music is brilliant. There is a vocal version of Under Pressure, which is used. Had you heard that before?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I hadn't. And the fact that it works as well as it does is remarkable, because it shouldn't. It absolutely shouldn't work, and yet it does. And it's that classic thing about all the best needle drops in movies are ones that really shouldn't be there. It's the wrong piece of music, and yet it completely works. And I think as just a piece of filmmaking, you just go, wow, yeah, that is what film is about. It's about creating that liminal space between memory and experience that makes you invest completely in a relationship. Also, there's another thing going on, which you kind of hinted at, which is that there's a sense of threat. There's a sense that something bad is about to happen. What's really clever about the film is you're never quite sure where that feeling came from. And so you look deeply at it because you're looking for clues. It's as if you're sifting through the past, just trying to remember something that you can't quite remember. So I could go on like this for hours, but I won't do. I'll just say it's terrific. It deserves all the nominations it deserves. He is brilliant. She is fantastic. And Charlotte Wells is a name that we will be hearing again and again on this show.
And also, it's one of those where it's good to know a little bit before you go in, because the film that I was afraid it was going to be
isn't that film.
It's not that film. And I think anyone who's just heard your review, it's fine. You can. And now I want to go back and watch it again, knowing that it's not the film I was afraid it was going to be. It is indeed the film that you've described. Aftersun with Paul Mescal, and there'll be more with Paul Mescal in Take 2. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. While you're here, check out all the other videos because they're cool too, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you want to keep up to date with everything Kermode and Mayo's Take, then check out our social channels.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, I would. I have done.
Excellent.